are super excited. So I do want to say that we want to take your questions. So if you have questions for Dean and for Matt, this is your opportunity to ask your questions. We appreciate people being here from all over the world. There are hundreds and hundreds of you watching already, and super excited to have you here today from Mississippi, from North Carolina, from Paraguay, from Portugal, from Maryland, from Kansas City. The list goes on and on. So thank you so much for being here. So without further ado, let's get into the conversation. There's a question coming in already about haunting, but we want to kind of reset a little bit. Welcome to the Parish Project. I'm AmberMac. I am the cousin of Matt and Dean. Super excited to be here. And Dean, if I can kind of throw it over to you, people are going to know your face. Tell us a little bit more about who you are. Maybe people haven't had a chance to kind of meet the man behind the project as well as your partner coming up.
So I'm Dean MacArthur. For the people that haven't met me already, most of you see me on Instagram, and I'm the one that purchased the house in Mont Carmel, Prince Edward Island. And with me here is my partner, Matt.
Hi.
Hello, Matt.
And we're here today to do some Q&As and talk to you guys a bit and answer some of the questions you might have.
Very cool. Well, I see the questions coming in already. I do want to say that my son is also watching. Hello to Ash. He's giving us some feedback. He's like, cut to Dean, cut to Dean. Okay, I get it. You all want to see Dean. I was trying to do a long-winded introduction, but very, very good point. So let's talk to Matt for a second. We kind of dragged you on here.
No problem.
And let's talk first about the purchasing of the property, because one of the early videos said that, you know, maybe it was sort of a bit of a surprise to you. What's the full story of that?
Well, I just wanted to thank you so much for having us here at your beautiful studio.
Aw, thank you.
But yeah, Dean, I was just sitting at home. We operate a farm, so we have ducks, chickens, geese, peafowl, and I got a text message from him with a picture of a beautiful house, and the question was, what would you say if I purchased this? And I was a little stricken back. I was like, well, it's beautiful. Well, yeah. And I said, whoever owns it is very lucky. And he said, well, we own it now. And I was kind of floored. And we quickly got on a call, and he explained the background of the building, the history, how it was connected to the church, and how much he purchased it for, and I had full faith in him after that. I think that he made a fantastic decision, and I'm excited more than anything. So
there are so many questions. Let's start with Erica. Dean, Erica's saying, what was the purchase price? I don't know if you want to disclose that, but maybe give us a little bit of a story.
So I can't disclose it just yet, but it will come up. But the building was scheduled for demolition, so I didn't pay an exorbitant amount for it. Most people have seen the damage, so it needs a lot of work and a lot of investment. So I mean, I will be revealing how much I paid for it in an upcoming video, but it wasn't a huge amount.
Okay, and the questions are coming in really fast. So someone's asking, Matt, do you do construction as well?
I do not, no. My background is in hospitality management, and I'm a decorator. I take care of a farm at home and my grandparents.
All on Prince Edward Island.
Yes.
So that's our family connection. So Sophie's asking a question, and I do want to say that there's so many questions coming in, so we're going to try to get them as quickly as possible. Sophie's asking kind of the grand vision. So maybe we could start there if you just are jumping on here. What's the grand vision for the parish project?
So we want to fully restore it. I'd like to see the building back to its original state as close as possible. There were some balconies that are missing and a portico that was taken off, so I want to put back on. We have like the original doors, so we want to restore that and put that back in there. But my end kind of vision for it will be a house that's kind of in the I guess it'll be 2025 before we actually get to the renovations, but once I want to put as much technology as I can inside the house, but then hide it like within the heritage parts of it. So like hide it, because we can take apart the walls, I want to take apart everything and then put all kinds of technology in there, and then we close it back up with it being as close as we can get it back to its original features, and have all that technology hidden away so that you can have like a historical house but with a modern day feel.
Super cool. I was lucky in 2019 to buy a 140-year-old home and bring it kind of into the future, so I know it's a ton of fun. Great question from Matt Rue, who is asking each of you, what is your favorite room? So Matt, putting you on the spot again, what is the favorite room in the whole house in terms of the vision of the future?
Right now, the rooms are quite a lot to be desired. I think my favorite room right now is the biggest in one of the turrets upstairs. I think it used to be the priest's bedroom, maybe. But it's a beautiful bedroom upstairs. It has a beautiful view. It has the turret shape as well. So it's kind of rounded. It has the round windows. I think when it's finished, though, the kitchen will be my favorite.
Very
It's
cool.
Huge.
And I'm going to ask you your favorite rooms, and I just want to tell people, because you're getting very excited about the safe, have you unlocked the safe? Have you unlocked the safe? So we're going to get to the safe. And I do want to say that it is almost 6:15 in Toronto, so we're going to broadcast till probably around 6:30 or so. So stick with us. Please share this video with anyone else who is interested in the Parish Project. Dean, let's get to your favorite room, and then we can talk about the safe.
Well, my favorite room has to be on the opposite sides to Matt. It's a smaller room, but it's also one of the turret rooms. And it has the most amount of windows in that smaller space. So even though it's a smaller room, it lets the most amount of light into it. And it's also in very good condition still, so it doesn't need that much in the way it repairs. But yeah, another turret of the rooms. But the kitchen will sure also be a very big feature, because the size of it is pretty large. So.
Very cool. So the comments keep coming, keep them up. So there are a lot of people asking in the comments about the safe. So let's assume that mostly everyone who's watching knows a bit about the safe, but if they don't, if they're totally new to the Parish Project, maybe give us a little bit of the background on the safe and where it's at right now.
So the safe has been in the building from, I believe, somewhere around the 70s or so. It was stuck between two floors in the kitchen, and nobody has the code to it. And the last remaining people that had the code have since passed away. It hasn't been opened in at least 25 years. And the people that originally lived in that building, like the last people to have known to have lived in that house, have known that that safe was in there, and it was locked then. So we don't know what's inside of it. We were told to expect there to be at least documents in there, but there might be some other items inside of it still as well. But we really don't know at all what is in it. So right now we've got it out of the floor, and we have somebody who's interested in coming from Winnipeg, who is going to open it without us damaging it. Now, a lot of people have asked me to blow it up and to cut it open and
get some dynamite.
yeah, but that's been a.
There's a lot of comments that say that. Yeah,
I bet.
Sure.
Yeah, I can't believe the comments coming in already about all of the questions around the safe and when it's going to be open. I do want to say that there's a really great question coming in that has, well, again, there's dozens and dozens of questions, but one in particular, when you talk about the future of the house and if you plan to live in it or not, that seems to be something that's actually kind of a theme I'm seeing so far in the chat.
So I've given it some thought, and I think we may stay in it once it's finished. It's hard to really decide. Seeing it in its current state and knowing how much it needs to be done to bring it back to a livable condition, it's really hard to determine what the end goal will be. There will probably be a likelihood that we might do some sort of event stuff with it as well, simply to try and maybe recoup some of the costs that are going to be involved in restoring the building. Now, we might stay in it, but I don't know if we'll live in it. We have another house in Prince Edward Island, and it's in a very nice area. And now, you know, this house in Montcarmel is also in a very nice area, but it's a little far away from the main city, so it might be more of a place that we might go and stay, maybe on like weekends or something. But
Like a country home
like
from your country home.
Yes.
Right? That makes perfect sense. Okay, so again, there's lots of questions coming in. Keep them coming. Again, I'm AmberMac. I'm simply moderating this conversation for my cousins who bought this incredible historic building that they are fully renovating. And I think they probably want to say also thanks to everybody for the support, because I looked one day and you had, 30, 40,000 followers and then hundreds of thousands. It happened pretty quickly.
Yes, it did snowball quite quickly. It's been remarkable the amount of interest that's been in this building. I've received messages from people in Sweden, Australia, who else? The countries all around the world, that have sent me messages of support, and it's really nice and humbling to see all these messages and the kind comments that I get from people, thanking me for restoring this building. And it kind of reinforces that it's worth it to save this building, since it was so close to being demolished, that, to take it back from where it is now and to bring it back to something that's, going to be standing for centuries more. It's quite I feel really good about what I'm doing, knowing that so many other people are in support of what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to say, don't think that we're not seeing your questions. We have Ash at home who's going to help me manage some of these questions because they're coming in so quickly. And so there's three that just kind of keep jumping up. First of all, just super quickly, Millie wants to know your accent. Where are you from?
Yes, I have seen a lot of comments.
A lot of really good guesses too.
Yes, a lot of really good guesses. Nobody has guessed it correctly yet. But I'm from England, but I don't have a typical English accent because I went to university, then I came to Canada, so I've been in and around a lot of places. So I have a very, I guess, muddled accent, depending on where you're from. But England is where I'm from.
All right, so thank you for sharing that. Of course, I already knew that. We, again, are all cousins, so it's a great place to start. Thank you again to Ash, who's going to send over more questions that are coming in. I also wanted to say that there's questions about if the house is haunted. We're going to get to those in a second. I want to kind of tease that one a little bit because it keeps coming up. But also, there's a question about the doll in the house. I don't know which one of you wants to take that. Tell us a little bit about the doll.
So there's a doll in the vault. So there's a vault that was inside of I guess it was built when the building was originally there. And there's the door is like an old steel kind of, or iron maybe, but it was rusted shut. And nearly everything in there was kind of like fallen down. But it's like because it was sealed, it was like encapsulated in its own self. But anyway, there was a doll inside the door, which scared me a little bit when maybe jumped more than anything. That was in the vault, and that's still in there because I closed the door and just walked away from that.
I would do the same.
But it was, since we're on the topic of things going on, we had a reporter that was there, and we were talking about, it's the possibility of ghosts being in the building. And while we were talking about that outside, one of the people inside said they heard something fall from another room.
Wow. Adjacent
to where they were. And then just the other day, when I was there filming for Instagram, when everybody met Geraldo, if you haven't met Geraldo, he's on my reels in there somewhere. And
okay, you can't just roll that out as if it's a really serious thing. I know you have a serious British accent, but Geraldo is a character as someone who obviously is family with these guys. I have never seen before, Geraldo. You're starting to kind of, introduce other characters into the home.
Yes, so right now, our renovations are a little bit slow because we're waiting for power to be switched on in the house, and then we can start to get some heat going and really start doing those renovations. So in between, I've been keeping myself entertained with Geraldo, and Geraldo came about because I noticed there was a lot of people commenting about a Geraldo Riviera to do with the safe. Now, I was born in 1990, so I had no idea what any of it meant.
Oh my goodness.
So I did a little bit of Googling, and I found, this Al Capone vault thing, and I looked into it a little bit more, and I thought it was quite funny. So I decided that I would bring Geraldo in to attempt to open the safe or to work on it while we wait for somebody to actually get the safe open, because I know there's so many people that want to see that safe open.
Oh, yes.
We just don't really want to be drilling it or destroying it in the process, because we don't know what's in there, and anything that we kind of do if we try to break it open could damage what's inside as well. So.
Sure. Well, okay, so I do want to say that I think the gentleman who is going to help with the safe, I believe that he is also in the chat, because I saw someone who was talking along those lines, so I think he is here as well. We do have some pictures. I don't know if we can bring some of the pictures up, maybe, maybe not. But if you haven't seen this beautiful property, I do want to say a couple of things. One is that we have someone asking why it's so, the building, it's old and why it's so damaged. In fact, I've seen a few people ask that, like, what happened that it is in such a poor state when you actually purchased it?
So there was a hole in the roof, is the short answer. And water was pouring in there for maybe 10 or 15 years, because once they stopped using it, because I guess the parish got smaller, so they didn't have a live-in priest, and then the house wasn't in use, and things started to deteriorate, and then the hole started in the roof. Water would fall to the basement, and then it would condense to the bottom of the floor joists every summer, and that would repeat over and over, and it dry rotted the entire floors out in 80%, well, I'd say actually all of the downstairs. Bar the hallway where you see the stairs that go up, that's the only surviving portion of the downstairs floors. Every other part of it has to be torn out, and there's a couple of spots upstairs also that have to come out. So,
and people were just looking at an actual photo of the property as well. And I know along the way too, you guys have learned a lot about the history of the property in terms of who owned it. We have another picture here that Chris is just lining up, so we can take a look at that. If you can just see, I'll show you here, Dean, just to give you a sense of what we're talking about. It's an older picture. Who's in this photo as we show it to people, just so they can get a sense of the history behind that photo?
So this is one of the earliest photos of the priest. We're not entirely sure who all of them are. We believe that they were the local priests of from Prince Edward Island. So they would have been the priests from all over the island that came to this house. So this house was once the pride, and then the church next door to it was once the pride of the diocese on Prince Edward Island, being the time it was built and how it was built. So I don't actually know all of these people in this picture. Now we are working with a local historian who's giving us bits of information when they can find it, and we've had some pictures that have been sent in that I uploaded that come from people that have old albums and they've moved away, and they found those pictures and then they've sent them in. So we are still learning a lot of the history ourselves. Now the building itself was built by Pierre Arsenault, was the first priest who built the church.
Very common island name if there are other islanders, Arsenault, right?
Yes, so he was the original priest that got the community to get together and built the house in the first place. But there's been a lot of people that have attended this house, and it's quite close and dear to a lot of people's hearts in the community. You know, a lot of people have a lot of fond memories of being able to eat there in the wintertime because it had food, and they didn't have food. So, it's I've heard a lot of messages from local community members that have were worried it was going to be demolished, and now they're ecstatic that it's not going to be demolished. And it's nice to see the smiles on their faces when they see that the house isn't going to be destroyed and it's going to be rebuilt.
So Matt, maybe a question for you, and I've seen someone was saying what a fun job to be able to, get inside the house as well and do some decorating and designing. So what's kind of your vision on that side of things, like in terms of the restoration inside the house as you guys work together?
It's hard for me to visualize the end result at this point. I mean, I'd love to have all the wood restored, the wallpaper restored. It's going to be a little hard to source, but I'd like to also bring some modern feels to the house as well. No antique beds, We're going to have...
No antique beds. Okay, sorry, what's that reference? Is that just because like they're just not comfortable?
Well, the beds that we found in there,
Oh, yes.
we found a lot of beds in there, and they weren't really made out of something that I would want to sleep on.
Got it. Okay, I got it. That makes a lot of sense. People are asking as well where the building is, so I'm just kind of writing it that, of course, the building is in Prince Edward Island, beautiful Prince Edward Island. A ton of work to be done, you know, inside and outside, but you guys are kind of, you know, you're getting on your way. You've gotten lots of attention. Again, I see a few people in here asking questions about what happened when the copper was stolen off the roof, which was, a little bit of a setback, right?
Yeah, that was really, it never feels good when somebody steals something from you. And that was really gutting to have that stolen. It's not really replaceable because you can't get that same type that was on there. And the melt value of it wasn't that high compared to what it's going to cost for us to replace it. So, I mean, it was really disappointing. Now, I did find a local company that should be able to find something similar to replace it. But yeah, they just came and stripped it all off. Now, that's been there since the house was built. And it's just, you know, we're just as we start to get to the point of rebuilding it. And unfortunately, it was likely because of the local media attention. People then seeing the house, they had seen that there was copper and they just come and stole it. But now, there were some arrests made, not related to the copper theft, but we were told where it was coming from, or the trouble area was. And that was a problem spot, and the police did go there and deal with some other items, so we don't know if those people have now been taken out. And well, we haven't had an issue since. There was a guy that came around kind of moseying around, so we put up some more lights and some more security, and there's some security cameras up. But once we have some power restored, we'll be able to add more lights and more cameras, and I don't think we should have a problem in the future. But yeah, that copper was, it's
sad.
Sad, yeah.
It's sad. Well, I have to tell you that Becca, who's in the chat right now, says that she will fight the copper thieves for you. So you have amassed an amazing
I think
fans.
I might know who that is.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Jess is saying karma, Dean, karma, I think insinuating that it will come back to the person who stole it. And then also just a tip for you, Matt. Someone is mentioning that they hope that you consider historical colors for inside the house to kind of, or the building to kind of preserve the natural history.
Absolutely. We definitely want to preserve as much of the history of the building as possible. I don't want to go with any modern colors or anything like that. No, it'll be as... I have worked at historic properties previously, so I love the history behind it, and I want to preserve it as much as possible.
Absolutely. So Marianne, we're going to take a couple more questions. I promised we would keep this, 20-25 minutes. So we're going to get, again, we're going to talk a little bit about whether or not the building is haunted. I promise you, because I know I see all those comments coming in. I want to thank Ash again, who's in there trying to help people out a bit with the backstory. And do you want to talk? Someone is asking, would you accept volunteers to help out with the project?
Yes, I would. I can't right now because the building has to be safe for people to be in there. So as soon as we get that power restored, which we're working on, but government's slow, so it takes a while.
You'll get there.
We'll get there.
And when it has flooring.
We'll be able to put the floors in. Once the floors are back in, we can have people in, and we can then, look at bringing in people to really get some of this stuff done.
Awesome.
Rapidly.
So speaking of rapidly, I think we should just do a super quick rapid fire because I can't keep up with all of the questions that are coming in. First of all, Sophie says Dean's accent is a little like Jeff Mack, of course, my brother, or fellow cousin. Very funny. But question, just super rapid fire. Dean, maybe I'll do a couple to you. What's the original date the building was built?
1902.
Okay, 1902. Someone's saying I was going to ask how you guys met because they are so cute. Maybe I'll give that one to you.
We met outside of Toronto. I was working in a place called Kananaskis, Alberta. Friends and I left that job and we were headed back across Canada. And I met Dean at a friend's brother's birthday at a bar in, I think it was Barrie?
Yeah.
was Barrie, Ontario we met.
Ah,
Very random.
Very random. And just to clarify, because I think, again, there's hundreds and hundreds of people watching, because I keep saying, oh, we're cousins, just to clarify everything. So this, of course, is Dean. This is Dean's partner, Matt. And I am their cousin, just to kind of clarify that, because I think someone thought that you guys were cousins who didn't know the story. And I was like, no, they're not cousins. I'm their cousin. And thank you for that question as well. And people still asking about your accent, which is so fun. So we did answer that, and a lot of questions come in. Someone's asking if I'm going to get involved in the project. Obviously, I'm here 100% to support them as their cousin, and we're super excited having this beautiful studio that they're here in Toronto, and have been really following along. So that's great. I think we should probably get to the haunted question.
Yes. So I'm not a superstitious person, but there have been some things happening in that house that have kind of got me a little bit. I think there may be. I was there on my own just the other day doing some filming, and I was recording the whole thing, but I was just me there. And when I went downstairs, and I was dressed up as Geraldo at the time, and
Naturally,
as you do. And but I just as I got to the bottom of the stairs, and my mic did pick it up, but there was just like this three loud bangs coming from upstairs. Now, there's nobody up there, there's nobody around, and I just
We've checked thoroughly.
We've checked thoroughly. Now, I just pushed through it and got my filming done and kind of ignored it and put it to the back of my head until I left, and then I did a little, I documented it at that point and uploaded that to YouTube, but it's, there are some things going on there that make me believe that there might be. Now, maybe they didn't understand the Geraldo kind of things going on and took a little bit of an offense to it or something like that. I would hope that, should it be haunted, that they would be supportive of what I'm doing. And
one can only hope. That's the thing. That's all you can do at that point. Someone is mentioning that maybe you should do an exorcism. That might be something that you guys decide amongst yourselves.
Yeah. I mean, we'd love to have a medium come and at least tell us if there's any spirits there. That would be great. Maybe have a priest come over if there are negative ones.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of potential in terms of things that can kind of come together and help out. So I'm going to let Chris just kind of prepare this visual, but someone's asking about fundraising and looking to potentially, I think it was Mariana, if I got the name right, in the chat. Mariana's asking, is there any place that I can go to help you, support you? Again, when we look at the parish project, a lot of people want to tear down buildings like this. Thanks to you both, that's not going to happen. You were preserving this beautiful building with so much history. Perhaps you could just walk us through and tell Mariana a little bit about the GoFundMe project you have, and Chris will bring it up on screen.
So, yes, we did have a lot of people wanting to help and support, so we set up a GoFundMe, which is in my Instagram bio, or no, not in the bio, in the highlights section, I believe.
It's a confusing place.
Yes, but there is a GoFundMe that we set up to try to help with some of those things that are going to be, because it's going to be expensive to do. So people that do want to support and help out in that way, then they can donate to there, and we'll be able to use that to speed things up, hopefully, when we really get this going. But a lot of this funding will be supported by myself, and I'll be doing a lot of the work as well. I'm a mason, so most of the masonry work will be done by me, and I'm quite handy, so I'll be doing all of the inside work too. And then there's some local people that will probably try to help out. So we're going to try to keep costs as low as we can, because it's going to be pricey. But yeah, any support that we do get, like that's,
it means a lot to us.
Yes.
Absolutely. A quick question here that Ash is asking, I don't know if he is relaying questions, but what do you plan to do with some of the items that you have found in the house? Is there anything that you want to keep?
Well, yes. So if you haven't seen it already, we did find Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip's signature, along with their gold pen that she gave and signed with. And then Edward also used that same pen when he came in 1987. So those three signatures are together along with that golden pen. And we have a tea set that she donated as well. which has a gold leaf. So we are going to get those appraised. And there are a few other things that are in there. And there's also a whole bunch of stuff in the attic that I haven't even gone through yet. So we'll try to keep a lot of the furniture that we can as well. There's a lot of MCM furniture, which is mid-century modern, I've been informed, that I should keep. Now, so there are a few things that were left over there that we're going to go through, and anything that's useful or period or is valuable, we'll keep.
There's a lot of people so excited about this in terms of the future of this. So maybe as we wrap up, Matt, I'll go to you first, and then to Dean, maybe just some final words about what people can expect in the coming months on this project.
Yeah. Plans for some really creative videos from Dean.
More costumes?
He's got some really good ideas coming up. As soon as we get the power restored, which we're working on, we'll be getting into some more of the serious renovation, demolishing, and renovating. But until then, it'll just be us and our creativity.
I love it. Very cool. People are super, super excited. So Dean, just some final words from you on the project.
So the next thing that people will start to see is the floors going back in. I have all the wood there for that, so that'll be happening soon. We'll be doing some more entertaining stuff in between that and exploring more of the items that are inside the house, so that we have a full kind of understanding and background on the house, so that anybody that comes back to this later on will be able to follow the whole journey from beginning to end without kind of being confused. So we're trying to keep everything chronologically ordered. So we're going to be doing a lot more on the history of the house, as well as, and obviously document anything we do in between, so that everybody that is watching or that follows later on will be able to go back to those older videos and basically follow everything along as we go.
Super
to try and
cool.
create a story. So I want to document everything that we're doing, so that people can come back to this later on and have a reference point as we get further along as well.
So awesome. I just want to congratulate both of you, because this is a massive project, a massive undertaking that you're doing on the side of all of the other work that you already are working on in terms of you raising animals, you with your business as well. So a lot of people are super excited, say they cannot wait to watch this progress really unfold in the future. And many people saying I love East Coast accents. So that's good too. Lots of compliments from everyone. Everybody is absolutely loving it. So again, the questions keep coming, so I will make sure that Dean has a chance maybe to go through some of these questions, try to answer them. It's hard to keep up with all of them, but people super, super excited about the future. So Matt, I wanted to thank you so much. We're going to go back to my house and hang out and watch the Grammys, but it was so much fun being here today.
Thank you so much for having us, and I do want to thank everyone watching for supporting us. It really means a lot.
Yeah, tons and tons of people, and thank you so much.
And thank you for coming in and watching. And those of you that are not aware, Amber is a tech expert in the field of tech, and she has a newsletter that she goes out weekly, which is really informative. So I read it a lot, and I've been using it for finding the next tech things that I'm going to be putting into this house. So
these again, totally free, comes out every Tuesday. If you guys are into tech, you can subscribe to the newsletter and watch all of the emerging tech that I talk about in the months ahead. So every single Tuesday. And I know there's going to be lots of intersections between what you guys are doing on this project and what we're doing here in Toronto on the tech side in the studio. And I know people are going to want you guys to come back and talk more about it. And we did talk about the safe. People are still yelling about the safe, but I think we talked about it, right? Like we covered it.
I think we've covered it. It's going to be opened. It will be opened, and we will film it. We're not going to destroy it, but we do have somebody coming. So, I mean, when are we going to be opening it? It would be within the next, I would say within the next month or so that it'll be opened. But it's not easy to get into. I've tried.
Okay.
Like, it's not an easy thing to crack.
Okay, so maybe that'll be our next live. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. If you have any more questions, please send them forward. Thanks for all of your comments and questions. They're all super sweet. Most importantly, congratulations, guys, on all of your success so far, and super excited to see this roll out. Thank you.